If y'all are seeing me for the first time, my name is Tracy. I'm the creator and I run our YouTube channel, but I also am the author of our blogs. And if you want like a readable tutorial version of a lot of our videos of what we're all about here at 4D Farms, we're all about faith, family, home, and farm. You can catch us on our blogs at 4dfarms.blogspot.com and 4dfarms.wordpress.com. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not, but it's the sound of birds singing in the morning time and singing their songs of their people, those beautiful bird songs. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but this is like, I love sitting here by my window in our bedroom. Sometimes I will come in here and have a cup of coffee, have my devotions, and I'll just sit here and just listen to God's creatures in the morning time, waking up. It's wonderful, y'all. And sometimes I can see little hummingbirds coming and sitting right here on this little rose trellis here. Yeah, y'all, it's wonderful just sitting here and listening to nature sometimes in the mornings when I am reflecting and doing my Bible devotions and things like that in my prayer time, my quiet time. But I've had all that this morning. I got up this morning, turned right around, made my bed up first thing. That gets me motivated every morning. I went, had me some coffee, had my devotions, my prayer time, got up, threw some clothes on. I will let y'all see my t-shirt in a minute. Me and my granddaughters have been crafting, and we tie-dyed some t-shirts. And y'all, we love them. It's so easy. They're so much fun. And it's things that I love to do with my grandchildren. But I'm up and ready to start my day today. And I've got so many things I've got to do, y'all. Yes, I've got jam making to do for dear hubby. Strawberries went on sale again, so I'm going and grabbing a bunch at a time. I've got neighbors and family members now wanting some. And then me showing them how I do that. Let's see what else. Oh, the purpose for today. Y'all, there is something else that I love in my home. A lot of people are turned on by the romanticizing their home with candles. Things like that. You know what my favorite thing sometimes in my kitchen is, or in my home? The smell of either coffee brewing or bread baking. Y'all, I'm a sucker for bread, okay? I am a sucker for bread. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this series, Bread Making for Beginners. Because if there's other people out there that's like-minded like me and just kind of intimidated and don't really know how to get started, that's why I created this series a while ago, y'all. And thank y'all for going on this journey with me. I've taken y'all through, so far, I've taken y'all through beginner things like cornbread, biscuits, quick dinner rolls. You can't get much simpler than that. Even my granddaughter can do it. Okay? So simple a kid can do it. And just easy things I've taken y'all through. The 5-minute no-knead bread recipe. And all the things that I do with that bread dough. How I use it. Y'all, there's more videos to come because that is my go-to quick bread dough when I need something on a whim and I want to have something that week. And it's just, you put it in the refrigerator. Y'all, it's so simple. I've taught my mama how to do it. And she loves it. She can make her up a quick batch of 2 little loaves of bread. Her and my daddy eat one now. Put the other one in the freezer. So simple, y'all. And she's learning different ways to use her bread dough. See? I started y'all out. We've gone from beginner. Now we're going to get into a little bit intermediate. I've showed you dinner rolls. I've showed you hamburger buns. Now guess what today is? We're going to be making a couple of simple sandwich loaves. Okay? And it's going to be beginner friendly because I'm using unbleached all-purpose flour, nothing fancy. I'm not going to half and half it and confuse you. One flour, few simple ingredients, a stand mixer. But y'all, by all means, if you don't have a stand mixer and you want to hand knead this dough, please feel free to. Excuse me. I just can't. I do not have the strength in my hands to knead this stuff like it needs to be kneaded to get that gluten working and get that stretchiness, okay? I don't have it in my hands and in my arms to do that. I will be using a stand mixer. But I have showed y'all and walked you through in previous videos of how to hand knead dough, okay? I will be using my stand mixer. Okay, this is a quick, simple sandwich loaf because I'm going to be mixing it up in my stand mixer. It's going to be resting and doing that first rise right there in the stand mixer. Just covered under a tea towel, okay? And getting that first rise. Don't let the lingo that people use for bread making to confuse you. A lot of times, the first rise, it's also called the resting period, okay? You want to let your dough rest after you knead it. So that gluten, while it's resting, that flour and that yeast and everything is all incorporating together and forming the gluten that it needs, okay? To give you a good texture of bread after it's been baked, okay? So that's your resting period and first rise, okay? Your second rise comes after it's rested. You take it out of that bowl. You get it out on a floured surface. You're not kneading it again. You're just getting a little bit of flour on it to keep it from sticking. Don't start adding a bunch more flour, okay? Just shaping your loaf and putting it in your loaf pans. The second stage, the second rise, is also called proofing. Okay, so don't let the language and the lingo that people use for instructions for bread making confuse you. Okay, resting, first rise, they're the same. Second rise, proofing, it's the same. You don't have to have fancy equipment to bake bread, y'all. I'm just using two simple pans today. They're the bread making pans, but you might use them and call them meatloaf pans. I have a metal one and I have a glass one I'm going to be using to show you the difference. The recipe I'm going to be using, it makes 2 loaves. So bam, I'm going to make one in the metal one in the glass one. You can see how they bake up, okay? Maybe next time I might make a sandwich loaf and use my Pullman bread loaf pan, okay? Like I did in the 5-minute no-knead bread dough. I used that pan to make a sandwich loaf of bread. I've gotten better with that. Trust me, I have. And I might do that later, but I'm just going to it's a beginner level, y'all. I'm trying to use simple ingredients that you might have on hand and pans that you might have on hand. And y'all, if you don't have a bread making meatloaf pan, Dollar Tree has the metal ones for $1.25 now, okay? They have them. Dollar General has them. Walmart has them. If you want to step up and you want to go nicer, get you a couple of the glass ones. You get multiple uses out of it, y'all, because you can use those meatloaf, pound cake, banana bread, anything, y'all. You'll get use out of those pans if you spend the few extra dollars to get the glass one, okay? But I'm just keeping it simple this morning for beginners, and it's going to be so easy, okay? So, let's go in the kitchen and get started, okay? All right, y'all, let's get this bread to going. The recipe that I am using, y'all, I will put in the description box below. I would suggest finding at least 3 or 4 different recipes online or from a trusted friend or someone in your family. Try each one, see which one you like the best, okay? Each recipe is going to be different. They're going to tell you different ways to put your ingredients in your mixing bowl or different steps to add your ingredients. Every recipe is different, y'all. Just follow the recipe. I'm going to show y'all a little trick right here, y'all. You notice I'm putting the oil in that measuring cup first that the recipe calls for. You'll see why in just a minute. I'm putting my ingredients in here just as they call for, y'all, in the recipe. And I think I like putting my wet ingredients in there first, then the flour. I'm running out of honey, y'all. I'm going to have to go buy me some more. The reason for putting the oil in there first is because that helped oil that measuring cup. Anytime you are having to measure honey and put it in something, it sticks. But watch this, y'all. That honey just glided right out of that measuring cup. No scooping, no nothing. So there's a little tip for y'all. But I like using, I found some tips and tricks where I like putting my wet ingredients first in my mixing bowl, then slowly adding my flour. Reason being, in my KitchenAid mixer, my mixing bowl, y'all, if I put my flour in there first and then I add my wet ingredients and then I start mixing it, I'm having to scrape the flour off of the edge of the bowl. And if I put my wet ingredients in first and then my flour, I'm not having to do that. So I think from now on, no matter what recipe I use, I'm going to put wet ingredients in first, then my flour. I think I like that better. So I'm just going to keep adding my ingredients that it calls for. And sometimes, y'all, you may not have to use all of the flour that a recipe calls for. And you may have to, you may not. The more that you bake bread, you're going to know what to look for and you're going to get the hang of it and you're just going to get the hang of it, okay? So I'm going to just put in some flour right now just to start getting this incorporated. Put my dough hook in. And then we're going to start mixing. So I think I only used 2 cups of flour first that it calls for. And I've got my mixer speed on 2. I will pick that lid up in just a minute. I'm just going to finish reading, getting the instructions here. Baking time, temperature time. Shift things around, get things ready while that's mixing. I do not know why I grabbed my yeast. Y'all, I need salt. I already got my yeast in there. I need my salt. Y'all, here's another tip. Do not put your salt in on top of your yeast because here's a tip. Salt, I'm sorry. Do not put your salt on top of your yeast, y'all. Salt kills yeast. Sugar activates yeast. Please write these tips and tricks down, y'all, okay? So that's why I added my salt in with the mixing away from the yeast, not right on top of it. I'm going to keep adding flour up until the amount that it calls for. Excuse me, y'all, I'm trying to swallow. And then what I'm looking for, y'all, is when the dough starts pulling away from the bowl and it starts forming a dough ball, okay? I'm just going to keep eyeballing it and looking for it to pull away, making the dough ball. I've got the amount of flour in there that it calls for in the recipe. We're just going to let that knead and mix. I'm going to scrape this off my dough hook, get it out of there, and then I am going to, after it kneaded, after it mixed, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm trying to keep up with my thoughts here. After it mixed and it kneaded for the time I needed it to knead for, y'all, no pun intended, I am going to cover it up with a tea towel and let it go through that resting first rise period. All right, y'all, it has gone through that resting or first rise period, and we are going to get it out of here. I'm going to use my plastic curved dough scraper, flour my surface. I've already got my bread pans sprayed with nonstick spray. Now, I'm going to show y'all something. Do y'all see? This is a sticky dough, and it's pouring out, and it didn't form it didn't stay a perfect ball, and it's not just coming out in a ball. Let me tell you some things that can happen if this happens and how to fix it. First of all, if you remember in my video, before this one, when I explained the basics of bread baking, what happens is a lot of time that comes into play when baking bread, you got to remember temperature and humidity plays into a factor when you are baking bread. I want y'all to remember this. It could have been that the temperature in my house or the temperature, y'all, it is spring weather at this time and it's warm outside. It is easier to bake bread in the summertime than it is in the wintertime because your bread rises better. That's a good thing, but you got to think about the temperature. Humidity creates moisture, okay? That's why my bread is not it didn't stay that perfect ball, and it's sticky, okay? Cold weather, it takes longer for your bread to rise, but you don't have to deal with moisture, and it's going to form that perfect ball. Y'all, I hope this is making sense. The more you pay attention to things, the more you'll catch on and you'll understand and it will click with you. So one thing that I could have done was I could have kept adding a little more flour at a time when I was mixing this. Okay, that's one way that you can fix it, but since I didn't do it then, I'm going to do it now. Now I'm going to add a little more flour until I can work with it and it's not as sticky. All is not lost, y'all, so don't freak out if this happens. I'm just going to fix the problem now since I didn't catch it on the front end. Okay, so I've got it a little pliable here, added enough flour to just make it where it's not sticking. And y'all also remember that the warmth of your hands is going to try to sometimes make your dough sticky too, okay? So I'm battling with my hands, the warmth of my hands. I'm battling with the temperature, y'all, okay? But that's okay. I'm fixing the problem now. All is not lost. So y'all don't freak out, okay? If this happens to you, it can be fixed. I've got it pliable here, and I am going to just keep scraping and scooping until I can get it like I want it. Y'all, there is so many ways that you can shape your dough to get that loaf. You can choose to roll this out right now if you want to into a rectangle, and then roll it, and then like a cinnamon roll, and then seal your seams, cup it up on the end, and put it in that pan. Some people will roll it in a ball and then flatten it out and shape it in a rectangle. Y'all, there's no wrong way to shape your loaves to get them in that pan. Just shape them and get them in that pan, okay? Got to keep my hands floured, okay? And I'm going to get it in this pan the best way I can because the warmth of my hands is making it sticky again. I'm going to measure using the length of my pan of what length I need it to be. So I scooted that over there so I could see how long I need it to be. And I'm just going to keep working with it till I can get it flopped over there in that pan. Okay? So y'all, a lot of things come into play when you're baking bread. Just remember when you watch that video, go back if you have to and take notes so you will remember these things. What did I do wrong? Okay? I'm just going to make sure that I don't have any air bubbles in those corners. I don't want to create air pockets. I'm going to do the same thing with this other hunk of dough, and then get it in that other pan. And then we are going to be turning on the bread proofing feature on my oven. If you don't have a bread proofing feature on your oven, turn your oven light on and let it start creating warmth in there. Those little bulbs are hot, and you can use that feature on your oven. Just some way to create a little bit of warmth, especially if it's during the winter. Bread rises better the warmer the temperature, okay? Colder weather, you're going to need that warmth, that extra warmth. Hot weather, it can rise really quickly just sitting out on your counter if you want to. But I'm wanting to kind of get this bread done so I can take a nappy, all right? So we are going to put this in my oven, and we are going to let it proof. Proofing means that second rise. Oh, y'all, I forgot a step. I forgot my milk wash. You can do a water wash, egg wash, or milk wash on top of your bread to give it that brown looking color like you find on the loaves of the bread at the grocery store. So I pulled it out right quick. I'm going to do that right quick, and then I'm going to put it back in there and let it finish proofing in the oven. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to see this bread after it has proofed? Look at that. Y'all see how it's doubled in size? I'm just going to take this out right now and set it up here and heat my oven to 350, and then we'll bake it for 30 minutes, okay? All it's been doing is just proofing in here or doing the second rise, okay? Y'all, that looks so good. All right, now let's bump this up. We're going to go to bake 350. We're going to get it preheated. And y'all, I could let this proof for a little bit longer. Y'all, it's a judgmental thing. It's a having an eye for it thing. Because if you let it proof for too long, which I've done that before, and I will probably do it again because y'all, life happens. You get busy, or you think, let's let it go just for a little bit longer, or it'll be okay while I go do this, and I've come back. Yeah, I'll probably do it again. It'll probably happen again. It happens. Don't let it proof for too long. When you see that it's like you want it, y'all, and it's doing fine, and you're like, okay, that's good. I think I'm going to go ahead and bake it. Go ahead and bake it, okay? Because if you overproof it, it will go and it will spill out over your pans. Yeah, and it'll like, but you can still save it, y'all. Just scoop up that dough that has, okay, and overproofed and maybe fell down, you know, or oozed out the side or something. Just scoop that dough back up in a little dough ball and make a little mini loaf, or however big it is. Just make it, shape it again, put it in another loaf, let it rise again. It's savable, y'all. This dough will just keep rising. You almost can't mess this dough up. So I don't want to let it go for too much longer, or that might happen. So we're going to go ahead and get the oven preheated, okay? And as soon as it preheats, I'm going to put it in there, let it bake for 30 minutes, and then we'll pull it out of the oven, y'all. And then the next step, okay? All right, y'all, timer went off. I've got the first loaf out. Let's get the second loaf over there. Do y'all see that bread? Do y'all see how that baked up? That is so gorgeous, y'all. Turn my timer off, turn my oven off, turn my light off. Let's get this one over here, and we will get it to cook. I'll show you how I'm going to cool it, and then let it start cooling, y'all. All right, y'all. I've got a cookie rack here that I'm going to take these loaves while they're still warm and lay them on this cookie rack so they can be cooling. And I'm just going to kind of, this one kind of almost went over the side, y'all. I might have to get a knife and kind of loosen this one up to see how it kind of went over the lip just a little bit. I might have to get a knife and help this one out. Oh, there it goes. Just kind of pressing in on it just a little to kind of loosen it up just a little. Let's flip this other one. I may have to work with that one because the bread started proofing over the lip, and that's okay. This one's probably going to be easier to get out. I greased the pans, y'all, and this glass is hot, so be careful. So I'm just going to if I can get a hold of it. It's sliding on me. Okay. Well, this one's the same way. Oh, y'all, usually when I do bread, they just pop right out, but I'm thinking I'm having to just, let's see if I can do it upside down. There it comes just a little bit. It's sweating just a little. That's the reason why you want to get it out of your pan. All right, I'm going to have to get a knife and help these out, y'all, just a minute. Be very gentle. Just kind of like go down into the side and just kind of lift it. It's sticking to the lip right there. That's all. Woo. I sprayed these, so they should slide out pretty easily, y'all. I don't want to cut into my bread because I don't want to mess it up. But I am trying to get it off of the lip of the... Normally, I don't have any trouble. Maybe I didn't grease my pan enough. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not trying to cut. I'm just trying to loosen it from the bowl. You don't want to let it keep cooling in these pans because if you do, they're going to sweat. This is the reason for putting them on the cooling racks, y'all. Oh, there it goes. Now, this is the reason for putting them on the cooling racks. And you want to put them on their side, okay? You don't want to put them like on the very bottom because like I said, sometimes they're going to sweat. Okay, so I like to lay mine on the side like this and let it cool off. Try to resist the temptation, y'all, of cutting into bread when it's hot and fresh out of the pan. Because once you do that, the steam is going to be exposed to cold air, and then it's going to turn it gummy. So try to resist the temptation of slicing into bread right when it has come out of the oven. And I'm one to be talking, y'all, because I've been guilty. I've done it before, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing nothing but messing this up, so I'm going to stop. I can always reheat the bread, y'all. No problem. I can always reheat it. I'm going to work with this one some because as it proofed, it kind of just like hung on to the lip. So let me get this one out, and then I'll show you how we're just going to set them right here, let them cool, and to where they don't sweat. All right, y'all. All I had to do that one was just turn it over after that. Look at there. 2 loaves of bread made, y'all. And I'm going to resist the temptation of slicing into this bread, okay? Because that, like I said, I have made that mistake before, y'all. It is so hard because you're sitting here smelling it and you're like, oh. And there's nothing like slathering on butter on a warm slice of bread, y'all. But don't. Let this cool completely, okay? And then turn it on its little bottom, okay? And then start slicing. Because y'all, like I said, warm bread exposed all of the sudden quickly to air, cool air, is just going to gum it up. And it's going to mess up your texture, and you're not going to have that pretty loaf on the inside. And that soft texture like you want, sandwich loaf texture. So I'm going to let these sit here and cool. I'm going to go take a nappy because I have been busy this morning. My feet are killing me. I'm going to go take a little nappy while these cool off, and then we'll come back and slice them, okay? All right, y'all. It's been a few hours later, and these have cooled, and we are fixing to slice one. We'll do this one. I'm going to get it off the rack. It's cool to the touch. It's like I like it. And we're just going to slice a piece off and let y'all see what this looks like. I'm not a good slicer, y'all. I'm just not. I cannot slice straight for nothing. It gets crooked. Y'all look at that. Look how soft. Look at your texture. Look how spongy. Y'all see that? Y'all, you can't get more simpler than that. You can't get much simpler than that. Y'all, go make you some homemade bread. Take the science out of it. Take the intimidation out of it. Just jump in with both feet and just experiment and play and have fun and enjoy your creations. Bread making is not hard, y'all. Okay? Next time we might make a sandwich loaf, and I might do it in my Pullman loaf pan, or me and the granddaughters just might try to do something fun. I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to tell you. Me and my granddaughters do something with bread. And this, we've done it once. Yeah, we've done it once. I think, yeah, just once. And we may wind up trying it again. Y'all, we just have fun with our bread. But y'all, there is nothing better than this. Please don't think bread making is complicated, because it's not. Just get over your fear. Jump in, have fun, create things. One of these we're going to chow down on. The other one we're just going to put in the freezer till we get ready to have to use it. Make sandwiches, everything with this bread, y'all. I'm probably fixing to heat this slice up and slather me some butter on it. Y'all, go make you some bread and have fun, okay? I'll see y'all in the next video.